This conference will now be recorded.
All right, everyone. Good evening and welcome to our sophomore college night. I can't believe you all are going to be sophomores next year. Feels like just yesterday you're starting out your freshman year. We're really excited to chat with you about the topic that is college. We know that it can be a stressful topic at times. It can seem overwhelming, but we want we want you to know that we're here as a resource for you, as are your counselors, but also we want to make sure that you have a general idea of what you should be doing now and kind of those next steps. I promise you the work you do as a sophomore is going to impact what you do as a junior, as a senior, and it will make the next 3 years so much easier. I did want to introduce ourselves. My name is Mr. Ringet. I am one of our college advisors. I'm entering my 4th year here at BL. Prior to this, I spent some time in the admissions offices at the University of Wisconsin, SMU, the University of Louisville, and a little bit of time as an undergrad and a graduate student at my alma mater, Western Michigan University. Miss Marchesini is also here as well. This is her 2nd year at BL. Prior to this, she spent some time in the admissions office at her alma mater, Kansas State, where she recently earned her master's degree in school counseling. So congratulations, Miss M, on that. We don't have our alpha split yet for the class of 2026. That'll usually happen at the end of sophomore year, summer going into junior year. We just want to make sure that we have an even split so we can give you the same amount of attention. However, I will say that if your name is at the beginning of the alphabet, you will be with Miss M. If you're in the back half of the alphabet, you'll be with me. It's the L's and the M's that sometimes there's a little bit of, it'll alter from year to year. But we're really excited to work with you. Now, a little bit about what we do. We're going to help you with your college application process. We're going to put on programming like this. We bring in different reps for college fairs, college visits, things of that sort. We'll help you with your resumes, your essays, building your college lists, all of that kind of fun stuff. It's really important though that you take some initiative, as this is your college search. I was once told by a colleague of mine that what he tells his students is, I can't want this more than you, and it's so true. We can't want this more than you want it. So the fact that you all are here tonight proves that you're probably going to be pretty engaged in the process, and you want to make sure you're on the right track. So we're really excited to work with everyone. Meetings with juniors or meetings with students typically start junior year. Students, if you ever want to come in and chat with us, you're more than welcome to. We love building those relationships, and it's a lot easier when we do it a little bit sooner. And your counselors are great resources as well. Parents, if you ever have questions, the best way to reach us is through email. We're both pretty prompt with our emails, and most of what we need to accomplish can be accomplished via email as well. And then if we need to set up a phone call, we can always do that as well. But formal meetings will start junior year. Just we both have large caseloads, so we want to make sure our juniors and seniors are getting the attention they need, as it's a lot more in the now. So what should you be doing right now? First and foremost, focusing on your academics. Your academics are the most important piece to any college application, and sophomore year is a really good point to either continue doing what you were doing or improve on what you were doing. It is a year that is so important. The other thing is starting your college search. You don't have to figure out your list right now, but at least get an idea of what you're looking for. Is if you're coming up to us at the end of your junior year with the I don't know answer to every question, then there's a problem. We have a much more difficult time helping you with these questions. So if you start your college search now, at least get an idea what you're looking for. It'll make your life so much easier. And then discovering your passions, thinking about maybe careers, getting involved in organizations that you enjoy, volunteering with different organizations that you're passionate about. Things like that can make your application so much stronger and make your high school experience so much better and give you a much better application. Okay, I mentioned academics, and your work in the classroom ultimately is going to be the most important thing to any application, whether that college is simply taking your GPA or whether that college is doing a holistic review and taking a look at all pieces of your application, the most important thing is always going to be your transcript, your grades, the classes you're taking, your trend. So maybe you struggled freshman year and then you pick it up after that. All of that. It is so important in the grand scheme of things. So sophomore year really sets the tone for everything. You only have 2 semesters of grades on your transcript, and it's pretty easy to bring that GPA up or down from where it is. So really focusing this year, if you don't already have them, finding those good study habits, continuing to excel in the classroom, continuing to challenge yourself where you can. This isn't us saying you should pick up every AP class in the book when you're able to. It's doing so in a way that you're still going to be successful academically. But one big thing is we don't want you taking the easy way out. Some of the more selective colleges out there will oftentimes be looking for those students that have earned good grades, but are also taking some of the more rigorous courses offered at your school. Now, I do want to tell you that AP, dual credit, and honors courses are all weighted a little bit heavier. So honors courses are weighted at 1.05. Dual credit and AP courses are weighted at 1.07. So any class that's labeled as advanced will also be dual enrolled at Eastfield. Now, one thing I want to tell you, as many of you will be taking your first set of dual credit courses in the fall, these are college classes. They go on a college transcript that will follow you. So while it may not be factored into your next school's GPA, if you're applying to law school, if you're applying to medical school, if you're applying to go get an MBA, that transcript will be there. So it's really important that you take these classes seriously and remember that. Our GPA, I do want you to know we are on a 100-point scale. We do not operate on a 4.0 scale. We do not operate on a 5.0 scale. We are on a 4.0 scale, or excuse me, a 100-point scale, sorry. We will have a 4.0 GPA on our transcript. However, if a school recalculates it, as many schools will, it will likely be lower than that number on the transcript. So right now, I just want you to think about your 100-point GPA. If you want to figure out roughly what a recalculation would be, there are tons of tools on the internet. What I usually do is I'll make every grade that's a 70 I'll give it a 3. Any grade that's in the 80s, I'll give 70s a 2, 80s a 3, 90s and above a 4. I'll add all those up and average them out, and that's how I'll come up with just a recalculated rough estimate 4.0. You'll never want to share that, but it's a good number to have kind of in the back of your mind in case you're looking at a school and they say their middle 50% is 3.7 to 3.9. So, but again, we operate on a 100-point scale. Now, when it comes to testing, one question we get a lot is, when should I take the ACT or SAT? You really don't need to take the ACT or SAT until your junior year. In fact, I don't recommend taking it before then because there's not necessarily a need for it. When I usually recommend taking it is going to be November, December of your junior year if you've already taken Algebra 2. We do want to usually recommend at least having 1 semester of Algebra 2 under your belt before taking the ACT or SAT. A lot of our students will start taking late fall of their junior year into the spring and then maybe into early senior year if need be, but no need to worry about ACT, SAT this year. Now, you will take the PSAT again in October. I believe it's October 11th or whatever that Wednesday is of that week. You do not need to do test prep for this one, and you shouldn't pay for test prep for this one. The PSAT for this one is not going to be used for college admissions purposes. No PSAT is ever used for college admissions purposes, but it can be used for dual credit purposes. So if you're taking any advanced classes for the first time, say next spring or in your junior year, that dual credit or that, PSAT score could exempt you from having to take the TSI test, which is required at all Texas public institutions, and Ms. Stock will contact you if you are required to take the TSI. The PSAT, though, is really great practice for the SAT. It's one of those that we do want you to take seriously. While talking about testing, I do want to mention AP testing as well. if you are planning to take, say, AP AP Advanced World History, that class is dual enrolled. But we do personally recommend that you take the AP exams, just because there'll be some colleges that won't take dual credit, and there might be some colleges out there, especially if you're looking at the UK system, that will require AP testing. So we want to make sure that you have those in your back pocket just in case. So it is really important that you do take those AP exams. Okay, moving on to, starting your college research. Like I said before, you do not need to build a list right now. That's not important. You might be able to find some schools that you like, and that's good. If you make a note of, say I really like school X because of this. If you tell us that, that might be a great way for us to tell you, well, you know what, if you like that school, you'll probably like this one too. But right now, it's really important to figure out what you want, what you like in a college, or what you don't like in a college. A big recommendation I have is to keep an open mind. So many kids, and I was like that when I was in high school. I wouldn't apply to certain schools because I cheered for a different college football team. And that is one of the dumbest things you can do. You never know when you might accidentally find a school that is the perfect fit for you. Going on the amount of college trips I get to go on now, I always look back and say, I wish I had a more open mind for colleges when I was in high school. So definitely keep that open mind. Don't get so caught up in, the name brands or the rankings, because you need to find out what's a good fit for you. We will have reps visiting campus again in the fall. This will be a great time for you to talk to these different reps, learn about different schools. As a class, you all did wonderful last year. So if you talked to reps last year, keep it up this year. If you didn't, this is a great year to go chat with them. Even if you don't know what to say, just simply go up to them and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I am a sophomore. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for in a college, but can you tell me a little bit about your school? And they'll be more than happy to give you a 30-second to a minute long elevator pitch on their school. One question I will say don't ask is, do y'all have sports? I can't tell you how many times Miss M and I have gotten that question while working at college fairs and going to high school visits and stuff like that. You can ask like, hey, do you have what division are you for sports? But it's a question I usually say avoid. And again, you don't need to build your list right now, but if you figure out what you're looking for, it can make your next few years a lot easier. Okay, now questions I think it's important to discuss, ask yourself, but also have a discussion as a family. What is important to you in a college? Is it the size? Do you want a bigger school? Do you want a smaller school? Do you want something in the middle? What's important? I think honestly, the biggest one we see for our students in addition to size is the location. Do you want to be in a college town? Do you want to be in a city? Do you want to be a certain radius from Dallas? Do you want to be a direct flight from Love Field or DFW? Do you want to be near family? Is there a certain part of the country that you're dying to be in? What is important for you location-wise? And honestly, tours can be one of the best ways to figure that out, and size. It can really help with that environment. The same thing goes for even city schools. You might go to a city and realize, you know what, I like this school because it's more isolated rather than this other school that's smack dab in the middle of the city. That's going to be a personal preference. Again, this is your college journey. This isn't your friends. This isn't your parents. Obviously, talk to your parents about decisions, but this is your college search and college journey. So keep that in mind. Programs offered, I'm always very hesitant on this one because so many students come up to us and ask, does so-and-so have a good psychology program? Every school, if you ask them that question, they'll tell you you have a good program. And sometimes it's not about finding the best program, it's about finding the right one for you. We had a student this year that was admitted to Texas A&M for engineering and chose to go to a different school because it was a better fit for them. Even though the engineering program wasn't nearly as highly rated, it was a better fit for them. And they're going to walk out with a great degree in 4 years and have a great experience, and they're going to get a great job. And it doesn't necessarily matter where you go, it matters what you do when you're there. Now, that being said, there are certain things you should consider. if you're looking at programs like aviation, or if you're looking at nursing or engineering, those are programs where you do have to major in specific things. So it's important to find those schools that have those programs. Other instances are if you're looking at, say, criminal justice, and you're interested in staying close to home, and if you don't have Sam Houston State on your list, you're crazy, because it's one of the best criminal justice programs in the country, and you're getting to pay in-state tuition. Same thing with music and UNT. You have some great programs here, so sometimes that cost piece can be that value can be huge. Extracurricular opportunities. So are you looking for something with, Division I sports? Are you looking for Greek life? Are you looking for a school that is religiously affiliated? Are you looking for a school with a great study abroad program? I'll say most schools do have good study abroad programs at this time. What is it that's important to you in your school? Think about that. Have that list of things of, I would love to have this, would be nice to have this, could take or leave that. Figure those kinds of things out, and that'll also make college shopping a little bit easier. And then visiting schools, we highly recommend taking campus tours when you can. If you have older siblings, go with your older siblings on those tours. If you just want to take tours in DFW in Texas, that can be one of the best ways to get a gauge of all these different things that we've told you to think about. One of my favorite routes to kind of get an idea of a lot of different schools would be taking a trip down to Austin, and on the way you stop in Waco and visit Baylor. You get that medium-sized private school with big-time Division I sports. You then keep driving down to Georgetown and go to Southwestern. You get a small private liberal arts school in a smaller town. Then you drive 30 minutes down the road to Austin. You get to check out St. Edward's, more smaller, medium-sized school that is religiously affiliated. And then you check out UT, a large public state university in a city. You get 4 schools. You can essentially do that in 2 days, and you've gotten a good idea of the different types of institutions out there. So visiting tours or visiting campuses is so important in this whole process. And now I'm going to turn it over to Miss M.
All right, hey guys. So this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is careers and thinking about potential majors that you might want to pursue when you decide to go to college. So like that first bullet point says, we prefer that you think about the career that you want and not so much the major, because colleges are going to name their academic programs so many different things. And just because when you're looking up a certain degree program, maybe you're looking on a website and you're looking for, X degree, but it's actually under a different name, So we prefer that you think about the career that you want, not the major. Don't get too specific on that, because also you can have a variety of majors. And I'm sure some parents on the line here may have majored in something that's completely unrelated to their career path. Sometimes, like Mr. Rangat said, you do need to kind of go in a certain area. But we prefer that you think more about the career that you're looking for, the jobs that you would want to do, and not so much getting laser focused on the academic major. This second bullet point is something that I feel very passionate about, because I was a victim of this myself in high school. And this is the academic subject to major pipeline. So what I mean by this is, if I like science, then I must major in medicine, engineering, etc. Or I'm a really good writer, so I should major in English. Those kinds of pipelines, like those kind of pathways, are things that I really like to avoid, because it can really pigeonhole you in something that might not be a good fit for you, learning style wise, personality wise. And sometimes maybe you think the class material is interesting, but the careers that are associated with that are something that you're not even interested in. So I always say, don't think just about the class material. Think about the classes that you love, and think about throughout your entire academic career, what are some classes that you've been really drawn to? But I also want you to think a little bit deeper about what type of things, like what type of projects, what type of homework assignments are ones that feel really naturally easy to you, and things that you've really, even if you don't love the subject, you felt really good doing it because you were good at it. So I for example, am someone that I love, obviously, speaking in front of people, as I'm doing right now, even though it's via Zoom, but I'm a huge communicator and I love speaking in front of people. But I was a really big science girl throughout my entire academic journey. And I went to college and was biology pre-med because that's what everybody told me to major in because I loved biology. I am not somebody who wanted to work in a lab, and I'm not somebody who wanted to be a doctor, but that was just that pipeline that I'm talking about. So I really encourage you then to think about things that you really love and projects that are easy for you. I ended up majoring in marketing, which really kind of put my science brain with a lot of data analytics, but also a lot of talking in front of people and communicating with people in the business world. So that's just an example of how some subjects that you really love right now, if you kind of pick apart the things that you really love about them, you can find careers and majors that might be a really great fit for you that you're just naturally really good at. So one thing that we do here at BL that's really awesome, and I'm a huge, huge proponent of it, is the U-Science assessment. And this is something that we'll be doing this upcoming year. It's through guidance. But this is a personality assessment that I really encourage you. I know everybody, since you're on the line tonight, you will probably take it seriously. But take it seriously because it's a personality assessment that not just takes into account the subjects that you love and the topics that are interesting to you, but also your work style, how you work in a team, if you work in groups, are you really great at working alone? Do you prefer to work alone? But also just the way that your brain works and how you learn the best. Are you a visual learner? Are you a kinetic learner? Do you need to like actually do things yourself to really grasp the material? But it'll take all of those parts of your personality into account. And it does give you some really great insight as to like kind of how you are as a student and how you work best and maybe study methods that are great for you. But also the thing that we take from it the most is the career section. And it'll give you a list of careers that they have kind of two parts. There's your topics of interest careers and then your work style careers. And then they have ones that are a combination of both that would maybe fit you the best. This is not a be all end all by any means. Like if you have a career that you've been wanting to do since you were a child and it's not on your list, you can still do that. It's not like a, set in stone list. But for those of you who might really have no idea what you might want to do, then it actually could be a great starting point of just some careers to maybe think about and a jumping off point from there. Not to brag, but we also put on a really great career night. So I know we had a really great freshman attendance this last year, so thank you to everybody who came. But we will be having career night again in the spring, and it's going to be the same format. For those who didn't attend career night, can't wait to see you there in the spring. But we will have our, it's typically on a Wednesday, and we have different rooms that are kind of different industry themed. So I know this year we had, healthcare rooms, but we also had a mental health room that was really popular. We had a media room, a law enforcement room that was super popular, a couple business rooms, architecture, engineering. So we have different industries and different career clusters that we have different rooms at BL, and we will have panels in there with alumni, friends of BL, community members, people that Mr. Ringet and I know, our friends. But they're in a different careers, different jobs, but they're also at different points in their career too. So some people have been in their career for a while. Some are, younger in, their mid to late 20s and kind of getting started. So we put on a great career night. It's great because you get to ask questions and learn the information that you want to know. You can ask them about what they majored in college and what some really impactful experiences were for them. So highly recommend that you guys attend because it is really fun. And then lastly, job shadowing. So this is something that if you have the time and you have the connections and you're able to do it, we really recommend it because maybe you've thought that you wanted to be a veterinarian in your entire life. And then something I hear a lot is then once you actually go and you're on the job and you have to see some of the procedures that a vet does after shadowing, you decide that maybe you want to work with animals in a different capacity. So definitely job shadow. And another thing to do is maybe do some service hours in those areas. You can kill two birds with one stone and get some experience in that area while also, oh, perfect. Yep, we talked about this, while also learning about that industry. So Another question that we get a lot, and something that we want you to start thinking about, because you have, you know, a whole 3 years in front of you of service hours and involvement, is when you're thinking about the involvement and how you want that to look, a question that we always get is what's going to look the best to colleges. And the short answer is the best involvement and the involvement that looks best to colleges is the involvement that you are genuinely interested in and genuinely want to be involved in. Okay, so there is no involvement that is, you know, the golden, quote unquote, golden involvement. There's no golden club to be involved in. We want you to think about what are things, again, that I'm really good at, that I'm really interested in, and how can I really let my talent shine and get involved and, you know, help an organization or really have fun throughout the next 3 years. So we want you to think the quality of the involvement over the quantity of the involvement. It actually looks better to colleges for you to be involved in, you know, 3, maybe 4 activities, but be involved in them really deeply and, you know, get a lot of experience, maybe grow in the organization. You know, maybe if it's the house system, for example, you go, you know, and get positions and then you end up being house captain one day. But getting involved and kind of growing through that organization looks the best to colleges versus being involved in 60 different things for 1 year. And we also want you to think about involvement as things that aren't just school related. So we don't want to discount things like work experiences, internships. Those are incredible, and that really is some of the best experience that you can get in high school. Home responsibilities, not your chores, but if you take care of siblings, if you take care of grandparents, if there's things around the house that you have to do that not a lot of other students are doing, that's involvement for you. Outside passions, you know, some things that don't always get as much credit for involvement are things like if you play the piano outside of school, or you're involved in club sports, or you know, you're involved in something that is not like the stereotypical kind of involvement. You know, it's not the NHS of involvement. It's things that are outside of school. That's also things that you're involved in that you can talk about within your college application. So we also, if that's a really big part of your life, I know club sports, that took up like basically 90% of my high school experience. I know how much time that takes up. So if that's something that you're involved in, that's your involvement. But also think about with your service hours, since that's something that you do have to have completed by the time you graduate. Again, just want to reiterate, maybe kill 2 birds with 1 stone and do community service that is interesting to you. Again, there's no golden community service opportunity to get involved in that's going to look the best to colleges. The best community service is service that you genuinely enjoy doing and genuinely want to be a part of. So if you can find a way to tie that to a personal interest or a potential career interest, for example, if you wanted to be a veterinarian, maybe doing some service with a humane society or an organization that is related to animals is something that looks really great to a college. But more hours with one organization is going to be better than a few hours at many organizations. And that's in the college realm. Obviously, if you do a few hours at many organizations, you are spreading the service everywhere, which is amazing. But when you're thinking about it from a college lens, if that's really important to you, then that's something to think about. All right. And then next up, we have Maya Learning. So Maya Learning is incredible, and I cannot wait for you guys to get on it. So Naviance, if you have heard of Naviance, worked with Naviance with maybe some older children or older siblings, Naviance is no more. As of October, Naviance, we are saying farewell. We still have Naviance until then, but Naviance is no more because we're moving on to Maya Learning, which is better, I will say. So Maya Learning has all of the capabilities that Naviance has, but it's better. So they're actually also going to be coming out with like an app, I'm pretty sure, and they're really user-friendly. It's very easy to use. But some of the functionality that it has is career assessments. It's also got college exploration tools in there. So if you did use Naviance maybe for looking at colleges or looking up colleges, you can put in some parameters. Maybe you're looking for in-state schools that are going to have a certain, you know, academic program, and that also have, you know, Division I sports, whatever. It will, you know, pop those out for you. So you can use that for college exploration. You can use it for career exploration. And then when you get to junior year, we'll use it for, recording your letters of recommendation requests. And then senior year is when you'll use it probably the most with your college applications and making sure that you're communicating with us about where you're applying. So right now, use it heavily and get used to it because we will be using it a lot over the next couple of years. But we are going to be sharing some video tutorials on it. And we haven't onboarded everybody, all the students yet. Mr. Ringet and I are still doing our own training on it. But it's an incredible platform and it's only getting better. They're really, really responsive. So they're coming out with things that by the time you're a senior, like we don't even know what they have coming out yet because they come out with new things all the time and they take feedback from counselors, which is really cool. So get used to using it now and get comfortable with it because we're going to be using it a ton over the next couple of years. But like I said, we will communicate with you when we're ready for all of you to log in. We're still training and moving our data over, but we'll send out communications once you guys can log on, and then we encourage you to get in there. All right, turning it back over to Mr. Ringet. Oh wait, do I have scholarships too? I think I do. Anyway, I do, sorry. So scholarship wise, that's a question that we've been getting a lot as well is, I heard that we can start applying for scholarships, as early as our freshman, sophomore year, which yes, technically you can. So if you want to hop on these websites that we have, again, we're going to be sending these to you so you can hop on here. What I want to say is when you guys are seniors, the bulk majority of your scholarships and what's going to cut down the cost of your college tuition the most will come from the universities that you are attending. So universities will give out the most scholarships. These scholarships, sometimes there are some really big dollar ones, but a lot of times every dollar counts, and a lot of times they are going to be smaller dollar amounts, but they really help with things like your housing costs, books, fees, things like that. You can start applying and looking for scholarships now. There are some that are for students of any age, and they'll save it for you for whenever you do decide to go to college. But most scholarships, I would not be surprised. Don't be shocked when you see that most scholarships are going to be reserved for those seniors. But junior year, senior year, that's when really the scholarship search can get like a little bit more, targeted and a little bit more focused. Right now, you can explore opportunities, and we encourage you to look at maybe opportunities that are community organizations that you are involved with, parents, place of work. Sometimes they have college scholarships for children, independents. So look at those websites, look around you, and start opening your ears to it. If you see some that are available for underclassmen, then definitely, put an application in because there's probably not going to be a ton of applications in there. So you might have a better shot of receiving it. So do that work, but don't be surprised when a lot of them are for upperclassmen. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Ringet. I'm pretty sure that's it for me.
Awesome, thanks, Ms. M. Now, it's really important that, like we've said through this whole presentation, that you really start thinking about things now. It seems like it's going to be far away, but it's going to be here before you know it. So the more you think about it now, the less stressful your college journey will be. Like we said before, you are more than welcome to swing by our office if you have questions, if you want to chat with us, throw some things our way. We're happy to help you all. We're here to help you in this process. Again, parents, if you have questions, email is going to be the best avenue. We can usually answer your questions pretty easily that way and give you links and have other information you can refer back to. We will begin our formal meetings though junior year. But again, as always, come see us if you just want to introduce yourself. Last but not least, follow BL College Advising on Instagram if you don't already. Miss M has done a really fantastic job this past year building the brand for it, and it's a great way if you're not checking emails, which you should be doing on a consistent basis. She posts a lot of stuff to Instagram as well. It's a really great way to find different information in more creative ways. So follow us on Instagram, continue to do your college search, your research, visit colleges, and stay up to date on everything going on. BL College Advising, and we hope you have a great rest of your summer, and we will see you in a few short weeks, I guess. Have a great evening, everyone.